All right, good afternoon, everybody. Commissioner Ace Coach 704 coming at you with the quarter one power rankings for the Primetime Elite League, better known as the PEL. So you look at the screen here. Right now, you have several teams that do not have a win on the season. However, not all these situations are the same. Of course, we do know some people are on auto right now. The Cowboys, Patriots are on auto for sure. So I rank them 32 and 31 respectively. Number 30 out of this group, I've got to go with the Raiders, who are 0 and 4. Had a switch in owners. New owners yet to play a game yet, but hopefully they'll be able to play a game soon. 29 out of this group, I'd probably have to go with the Texans. They've only scored 54 points on the season. They've been trying hard, doing a great job with the articles, but unfortunately it hadn't translated into any wins so far this year. 28 out of this group, I'd have to say the Rams, playing a really tough division. Unfortunately, as you can tell, the offense has been the problem in LA, and hopefully they'll be able to rectify that real soon. 27 out of this group would be the Buccaneers, giving up a lot of points, 193 points in 5 games. Of course, they've had some sims or forces that went against them as well. And then next out of that group would be the Titans. Only 47 points in 4 games this year makes it really tough to compete in a very tough AFC overall. So that's that group right there. And out of that group, the Titans were a playoff team last year. I don't expect that 0-4 record to stay the same. These other teams, like I said, a couple are on auto, but common theme here is offense. You got to find ways to score points and not turn the football over to try to improve. All right, then you jump forward to this next group right here. I have to rank the Ravens ahead of the Redskins. Ravens have had a little bit better luck. Both teams are 1 and 4 on the year. Ravens giving up a lot of points. 188 points given up is the problem there. Hopefully they can find some ways defensively to slow some people down. Redskins offense, their defense hadn't been terrible, only giving up 111 points. They had some close games, some close losses, but only 1 win on the season to show for it. But they're in a division in the NFC East with 2 teams, in the Eagles and the Giants, that have really played well. So they're a little bit behind the 8 ball in that respect. After those guys, looking at this group right here, I just played the Jets last night. You can see, look at their scoring, 162 to 160. They're not a bad team. But there's some teams that I will put before them as far as the power rankings go. I guess I'll go with the Broncos. The Broncos are now on auto. Only 76 points on offense this year. Defensively, they're not that bad. They had a close loss to the Chargers, and then they said they were done. But like I said, I'm going to let them on auto, and I'm giving them a few games off. Hopefully they'll be able to come back around real soon. The Bears at 2 and 4, they're playing better. They're playing a really tough division. Their offense is actually better. 127 points scored. Got to work on slowing some teams down, but at 2 and 4, they still have a chance to get back in the thick of things. The Seahawks are on auto at 2 and 3. You can see their defense once again is really good, but offensively only 91 points scored on the year, and now with them on auto, it kind of opens up the NFC West a little bit for the Cardinals and the 49ers. And then out of this group, that's where I would put the Jets after them. Like I said, they're not a bad team. They actually have a positive 4 points against ratio. Thing that hurt them against me last night was turnovers. Our defense played really well. That they have a lot of talent, and they're not a team that you can sleep on for sure. And then last out of that grouping is the Packers at 3 and 3. They made a push for the playoffs and just missed it last year. I think they went 9 and 7 in the NFC, and that kept them out. But they're playing a tough division, and they've been playing better. So they're a team that you're going to have to watch out for sure. Then you jump to this next group of teams right here. The Chiefs are on auto at 2 and 3, so I put them next. We know they have a lot of talent, but of course they're going to be gone for a few more games, so that record's going to fall off a little bit. And they're not going to be in the playoffs this year, being on auto right now, unfortunately. And then you look at the rest of this group. You had to put the Panthers next. They have a positive points for points against ratio right there. But at 2-3, they've been a little bit up and down. But at least they are competing and playing their games, and that is a step in the right direction for sure. Surprisingly, out of this group, you see the Steelers there at 2-3. They have a positive points for points against ratio, but the big difference is they're giving up a lot of points, which is not something typical of what the Steelers do. And I don't expect this 2-3 record to last much longer. I think they're just off to a little bit of a shaky start, but they'll come back and they'll make a run for the playoffs like they always do in that division. The Falcons at 2-2. A little odd to see them not only scoring 73 points in 4 games, but defense is playing well with only 99 points given up. And you see they won 2 in a row, so they definitely got things going in the right direction in Atlanta in the NFC South. And then the next 3 teams are those bottom 3 right there on the screen. The Colts, Browns, and Saints. I rank them like that respectively. Colts at 3-2, really scoring a lot of points at 177 points in 5 games. This was really impressive. They took a forced loss to the Dolphins. Otherwise, I think that game would have been really fun to watch. But they're right, as usual, they're right in the thick of things in the AFC as far as the playoff picture goes and in the AFC South divisional race. And then out of that group, the other 2 teams are the Browns at 3-1. Very good points for points against ratio. They play a lot of games. They had a wild game in week 1. I think it was crazy and high scoring. And the Lions won that on a sort of a Hail Mary, but typical streak route against cover 3. But as usual, the Browns are always in the race, and right now they lead the AFC North at that 3-1 record. And finally, out of that group, we were looking at the Saints at 3-1. Very good to have Reggie back playing his games. Very good points for points against ratio. And, if they continue to play their games, I like their chances in the NFC South. All right, we jump to this next group of teams here. You got teams with all 4-1 records except for the Lions at 4-0, who we will rank, of course, near the top of the rankings altogether. Once you start looking at this group, you've got a lot of really good players that are perennial playoff visitors here in the PEL. But the Bengals stand out. They're 4-1. Good points for points against, and I kept telling guys that he was a good player, and he's starting to show that now. And he's had a couple seasons to kind of turn over the roster. And this is what I talk about when you come into a league midway and you don't complain about your roster. You start grinding, you make moves, you build your guys up with the XP, and you get better. And he's done that, and that's a testament to how good he is. And he's a good member of the league, and I appreciate his grinding and work, and you're going to see him continue to rise toward the top of the power rankings here going forward. The Jags at 4-1, they're having another bounce back season. Had a tough year last year, got busy with work, but now they're back and able to play on a regular basis. And you can see when you're playing in rhythm, you can do a really good job. He's got over 40 points for against points against, leading the AFC South at 4-1. And then I would put myself at that point. We've had a couple forced wins over the Patriots, just the way the schedule fell, but overall playing games were 2-1 on the year. We had that tough loss to the Dolphins where we just didn't play well at all on both sides. And I think we bounced back well last night, and I think going forward we're going to continue to do a pretty good job at 4-1. I expect us to make the playoffs this year, and if we don't, it's going to be a huge disappointment. And then the rest of this grouping, I like the Cardinals here, 4-1, really good points for points against. And like I said, with the Seahawks going on auto, that really opens up the NFC West for the Cardinals to make a run into the playoffs and possibly even at the division title. The Vikings at 4-1 do a really good job, really good defensively. He's only given up 72 points in 5 games. Which works out to a little over 10 points per game on defense, and you'll win a lot of games doing that on the defensive side of football. 49ers at 4-1. I can't remember who they lost to, but that's a surprise. But of course, he's doing a really good job on defense as always. Only 83 points given up. Won 3 games in a row. He's probably going to win a lot more in a row, given what he did last year, and he's probably real motivated by that loss in the playoffs. And then we've got the undefeated guys here, and we've got, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 5 undefeated teams right here. So our top 5 teams, in my opinion, based off what I've seen this year, I think the Lions are number 5 at 4-0. They're giving up a little more points than he usually does on a regular basis, but his offense, of course, with Kaya and all his receivers, really more than make up for that. I'll put the Giants at number 4. He's got a good ratio there, 184 to 89. Doing a really good job in the NFC East. It's going to be a heck of a battle between them and the Eagles to see who wins the division, and probably will end up being the number 1 seed out of the NFC overall. Number 3, I'm going to put I'll put the Chargers at number 3, and just based off the numbers I'm looking at there. 175 to 79 is really good. We all know how good Deontay is. He did squeak a 3-point win out over the Broncos, which prompted him to go on auto. But neither here nor there, Deontay's made a lot of people upset playing games this year. Number 2, I'm going to put the Dolphins. He's done a really good job at 6-0. The way he remade his defense by drafting those 2 linebackers in Dombrowski and Vasquez, allowed Telvin Smith to kind of move to a different position and be a little more active. And, it's been good for him. And I think he's going to continue to do a good job in the regular season, and we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But I do still lean number 1 to the Eagles because they won the Super Bowl last year, and they haven't lost a game since. So you have to give credit where credit is due. And they continue to do a really good job overall in the NFC at 5-0, tied with the Giants on top of that division. All right, so that's the power ranking. Stay tuned for more. I'm going to end this and start a new video. Thanks for watching.